My name is Bill Maher. I started working at the Corpus Christi Army Depot in January of 1966. I retired from the Corpus Christi Army Depot in February of '88. When I first went to the depot in 1966, I started working for Fred Barcroft at Hangar 45. I worked out on the ramp defueling helicopters that just came back from Vietnam. And we opened up, over the doors they had a sign saying this helicopter is contaminated. But at that time we didn't know what contamination was. Inside these helicopters, after we opened up, there was blood all over the place, dried blood, dead animals, bullets, maps, personal effects of soldiers. I worked with Mr. Saldivar, Mr. Ramirez, Mr. Prince, and Mr. Ramos. We got so used to blood and animals and stuff, we ate our lunch in these helicopters that just came back from Vietnam. And like I said, they had chemicals all over the place. Mr. Saldivar at that time was an old man. I guess he was about, I don't know, 60 or 70. He got bit by a bee one day, and he used to wear this gray uniform all the time. I guess they were like Dickies. And he rolled up his sleeve because the bee bit him on the arm, and he had sores all over him. Right? He had sores on both arms, and he said he had sores all over his body. And at that time, I was like 29 years old, and he told me, Bill, get away from this place before you get sick like me. Also, Mr. Ramirez told me, get away from this place just because he was sick too. So anyway, we defueled the planes, and then we went to the cleaning shop. There was a lot of dirt and sand in these helicopters, and we always thought that the white powder was what was really bad, but then we come to find out after years that the dirt and sand was what had dioxin in it. And so we worked in I worked in the cleaning shop, which was a filthy place. I worked in Hangar 43. You couldn't believe how dirty and filthy Hangar 43 was, and all the chemicals and the dust floating in the air, and it was just, I swear it was like working in a German concentration camp. In Building 8, we used to take asbestos off the aft engine firewall because we had to replace it with new, and there was asbestos fibers floating in the air. And I was an acting night supervisor, and I called down the safety people to say, look at this stuff floating in the air, it's asbestos fiber. And all they cared about us was wearing safety glasses. They said, don't worry about that, don't rock the boat. So I left it for Doak Russell, who was the daytime supervisor, that this stuff, because during the evening hours you could see from the sun rays the asbestos fibers floating in the air. So it concerned me, and I wanted to notify the safety department and our daily supervisors about this condition. Now I have colon cancer and liver cancer, and I have type 2 diabetes. This all started in 2004. I was doing pretty good. I had a lot of skin cancers, but in 2004, I had a stroke. My whole left side got numb. I fell over on the floor, crawled out the front door and called the ambulance. At that time I was in New Jersey taking care of my mother. And then in 2005 I developed type 2 diabetes. And then in 2007 I developed colon cancer and liver cancer. I've been up to MD Anderson. I'm going back in August. Right now my colon is not connected. Now you looked at my dear friend Rodney Miller, who's sick as well. Like I said, at these meetings that we have, there's a lot of people that are sick. I asked you, Solomon Ortiz, to help these people, get us a package like you did for the current workers out there. If they deserve $40 million, I think we do too. Like I say, this stuff comes up on you after about 30 years. You start developing cancer, you start developing sugar diabetes, you get a stroke. I know many men that died of stroke. And I just want to tell you that we're not going to take this lightly anymore. All the people that we come in contact with, in these meetings that we're having, we're going to start documenting their health. Now, I don't care if it offends the Corpus Christi Army Depot. I don't care if it offends the people, citizens in Corpus Christi that we're trying to hurt the base. We're not trying to hurt the base. What we're trying to do is get just compensation. We worked in that stuff as innocent people. And we didn't know that we were working chemicals that would eventually kill us or make us very sick. All we want is just compensation. And like I say, there's an old saying that you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. So we want to be nice about it. We want people to realize that we're just ordinary people that did our best to help win the Vietnam War, and we just want just compensation. We want presumptive evidence from the U.S. Department of Labor. That means that even after 30 years of getting out of the base, we developed cancer. Presumptive evidence says that means we worked in the dirt and sand from Vietnam, and that was contaminated with dioxin. There's no more fighting about it. The Department of Labor has to automatically help us. We also want what the VA calls help for civilian workers, and it's called other groups who gave service to the military. Like the Merchant Marines, they were civilians. We want the VA to compensate us because we helped try to win the war in Vietnam, and even though we were civilians at the time, and the VA gives civilians VA benefits, we want that as well. We also want to help the people such as Rodney Miller and other workers that got so sick the depot let them go. Like Rodney Miller, he got sick at the depot, so sick that he had to leave his employment. Now he has come down with cancer. He's almost living on SSI and whatever. So therefore, Solomon, Mr. Congressman Ortiz, we ask for your help. Please help us. Thank you. My name is Bill Maher.